White Van Karl.
White Van Karl, absolutely. Do you want to explain the premise?
Well, we take the Sun asks someone else and asks Karl. It's as simple as that.
That's
The Sun have just taken a normal person, we flipped it. We're gonna ask Karl the same questions about the week's news.
Yeah, just basically your opinions, Karl, as ever. What do you make of, well, obviously the big news, David Beckham's broken foot? Is this a big concern for you?
No, I mean, it's sad, you know, it's sadder for him more than anyone, because, you know, to like, be in the World Cup is, like, the main thing for him, innit?
Yeah.
But he's still a young lad, and, I don't think he'll give up. I reckon he'll still turn up. He'll be alright. And, yeah, good luck to the lad. You know I like David, I'm not gonna slag him off.
Wise words!
Yeah, he says that like he knows him. Like he's popping round for drinks later.
Yeah, like we tried to stitch you up. Go on.
But, obviously yesterday, was it yesterday? I think maybe Thursday, the Sun printed a big picture of, David's, foot, and encouraged everyone to touch it at midday, because hoping that this would somehow, if we all thought and prayed together, somehow that would help his foot heal. Do you believe in that?
No.
Any belief in that?
No, you're going down the old, like, Yora Geller route, aren't you?
Sure.
And it's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I mean, it's nice effort and everything, it sort of cheers everyone up.
Hold on, you believe in ghosts and warlocks and licking toads. Why is that any more stupid than all those things?
It's not gonna work, is it?
Alright.
Fine.
It's rubbish.
Okay.
Okay, what about this then? There's, apparently now available £1.5 million apartments available on an exclusive ship which sails around the world.
Yeah, it's like,
What do you make of that?
it's a huge thing, and you live on it, and it's, I mean, in theory...
How big is it?
It's mental.
Do you know
it's
when-
like
Huge
a
luxury
town
liner.
centre.
Do you know how,
Because-
like, people said that the Titanic was the biggest ship? Was that only then? They've got
Yes.
bigger ones now, haven't they?
Yeah.
A lot bigger.
Oil tankers are much bigger, and, yeah.
No, but actual
Liners
ones
are
that
big.
people-
Yeah, it was the biggest then, yeah.
Because my mum told me that there was one that was that big that it had, like, rough areas on it.
Oh, don't go starboard.
Oh, God!
No, but do you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like
we're thinking of moving. We're seeing
Yeah.
the captain. We're thinking of moving to a nicer area. Oh,
Yeah. I've heard they're very rough in aft.
Oh, God. Oh, that's
They steal your
fantastic.
tyres.
A ship so big that was rough areas. Oh.
How big is this one that you're talking about?
Well, I don't know, it doesn't give me the specifications here, but
They're
it's
huge. They're huge. In theory, I mean, it's that thing with, it's obviously marketing, but, they're gonna, solve, the, overpopulation crisis where soon we'll all just be floating around the sea,
Yeah,
but...
yeah. I can see that, because, I mean, think about it, right? I've been talking to Ricky about it. I was hoping to buy somewhere in London, but there is no way in this world that I can afford it, right? And you look at all the wasted space, like, with the Thames, all it's doing is, like, collecting crisp packets and stuff, and Coke cans, and people have to clean it up, whereas if you got a load of boats on there...
Yeah.
Problem
Perfect.
solved.
Yeah. Would you live on a
Problem
boat?
solved.
What's his name did it, didn't he? What's that programme? Is it Bergerac?
Noah. Oh, Bergerac?
There was one where he lived on a boat. I think it's quite...
That was
Mind or
Shoestring.
something? Yeah, I'd give it a go, anyway.
Noah.
I'd like to see you, living in the air, maybe in a giant hot air balloon.
Yeah, alright. But, no, the boat thing, because it is gonna get bad as well, isn't it? They're saying that the water's melting or whatever.
The water's melting,
The ice is melting.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be
polar
more
ice.
water and less land, so in
Yeah.
the future, it's probably gonna be the way we're gonna be living, isn't it?
Have you seen that film Waterworld?
Nah, I don't fancy it.
Because
Is that what happens?
that sort of predicts that, yeah.
What, are they saying that the ice thing will
Exactly,
melt?
yeah.
But at the same time, I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago. If you get, I mean, I think I read that, like, a big chunk of ice, fell off one of the ice, what do you call them?
Caps.
Ice caps. Something like I think they said it's the size of the Empire State Building or something.
Right.
It snapped off and went into the water, and it's melted. And they said, oh, it's bad news, you know, that something that size is melting. But the way I look at it, if something that size falls into the water, it's like a big ice cube, and it's gonna freeze it up again. You with me?
Not really, Carl.
Go on.
Right, you get a giant ice cube,
Yeah.
the size of the Empire State Building,
Yeah.
stick it in the water,
Yeah.
it's gonna make, it's gonna stick back on again, isn't it?
Well,
It's
no,
gonna stick back
only
on
if it
again.
freezes up again.
Yeah, well,
do
it
you mean
will
it's gonna
freeze up. The
Well, it
water's going
won't,
to get
but-
cold again because you've just put a giant ice cube in the water.
So when you put an ice cube in a drink, the drink doesn't freeze, does it?
No,
the
because
ice
it's not.
melts.
If you put one the size of an Empire State Building in your glass of Jack Daniels, it's going to make it freezing.
It's not going in a glass of Jack Daniels, it's going in the ocean.
I know, but you see that I'm using my fables. Imagine a world.
Use your brain instead.
Imagine the world. Imagine the sea,
Yeah.
like the Arctic or whatever, as
Yeah.
a glass of Jack Daniels.
Okay.
A big ice cube falls into it.
Yeah.
It freezes. It melts back on again. So we're all right. I don't know why everyone's worrying.
God.
Thank God for that, I was getting panicked.
Oh, fine.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, that will happen. Got another one there?
Well, it's just your thoughts really on the Queen Mum's very British send-off that she was given this week.
Yeah.
What do you make of all those people queuing up to see her? Did you think that was incredible?
Right. Well, we said last week, you know, there was I don't quite understand why there was so many people there, who were, like, getting really upset. Do you know what I mean? Really upset, crying and stuff, and, you know, you can lose someone who's, like, related to you, and you don't cry like that. You sort of sit there and you think back to what you did with them and stuff, and then that's it. But, the queue thing, wasn't it, like, miles long and stuff?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Right, I was sat watching this with Susan.
12
and that.
hours queuing.
Yeah.
It never got to
And
12 hours.
It did, but
It
that was
did.
the estimated time.
Now,
But how
you know-
long is a queue when they're just like, you know, walking along? Think how far you can sort of like, you know, stagger in 12 hours.
Incredible.
It's been ridiculous. God.
Yeah. But, again, you know, if they want to do that, it's their time and that, innit? And
Yeah.
it was at the weekend, so they could have... It's not as if they got out of work to do it.
No.
You know what I mean? They used their own time, so good on them. But I thought, right, what they could have done... Remember when I studied Che Guevara?
Yeah.
Right? And don't be offended by this, it was just an idea, because they did it with Che Guevara. Remember when they cut him up?
Yes,
Remember?
they cut him up, yeah.
What was the reason for cutting him up?
Well, they cut up Che in order to try and, you told us that they were gonna send bits of his body to Fidel Castro and various other people, wasn't that right?
As a warning, wasn't it, though, to all the people, like, one to...
Yeah, my understanding was that they cut him up in order to, so they could bury him in different places, so that there'd be no shrine, there'd be, not one place that you could go to in order
Right.
to
Well, a
sort
little
of make
bit
him into
like
a martyr.
that. A little bit like that. I've, like,
I can
6
vaguely
queues.
see where this is going.
6 queues, and it's like, number 1, you can, you know, go and pay respect to her head, or whatever.
Oh, God.
No, but I just was thinking the way of speeding it up. I'm not having a go, I'm not, because they haven't done it, so it doesn't matter.
God.
But they did it with Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Everybody would have felt like they've got close to her, and it would have speeded it up.
No, I mean, but I can understand.
Can I just say that genuinely, Carl is not being disrespectful here. This is his best idea to cut down the queues. So don't phone in. He's not suggesting we should have done this. He genuinely
Well, he
is. Well, but I mean, he's not doing it to be nasty or wacky or you know. He thinks this is a good idea. So
Can I just throw a
Because they did it
thought
with
at
Che
you?
Guevara, who was like a powerful man, he did a lot for the world and what have
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And
Are you aware that I feel slightly responsible for this because have you heard of the quote? A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
yeah.
Okay, Steve, next one.
No, just a very quick question. I can understand those that have queued for 12 hours to see the head. I'd be a little bit annoyed if I got there to find a toe.
I'll tell you what though, I'll tell you what they could do without chopping her up. They could put about 9 queues, each could see each hip she had.
That's true enough.
Because she's had about 9 of them,
Yeah.
so it'd just be, if you want to see the whole body, it's a 12-hour queue. If you just want to see a couple of the hips...
Here's another suggestion for you, I've just thought, right?
What?
Instead of everyone queuing to see her, why not put her on a trolley and wheel her past everyone else?
Running. So,
Yeah, you could have some students on Rag Week, they could combine it, like when they're always pushing a bed. You know, they could just run it along the queue.
No,
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be disrespectful.
Right, as opposed to the chopping up.
So,
Sure.
no,
Right.
but just an idea.
Just I apologise now, if anyone's offended.
Anyone offended, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Okay, finally, this is more frothy. Liz Hurley lying low, apparently, at Elton John's house to try and avoid the press now that she's had a child.
That's a good place to go to avoid the press.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, Elton John's house, yeah.
Everyone seems to be friends with Elton John.
Yeah,
don't they? Every celebrity's
why did
friends
he
with...
pop into Elton John's house? What is he running some sort
But
of...
it was like when Robbie Williams was a drunkard and a drug addict, he went to Elton John's.
Yeah, and who's the
Elton
other fella
Hutton.
that went there as well? What's someone to, you know, to recuperate and shoulder to cry on? Is he giving out false passports?
But I
and,
don't know
like,
if people have seen his
moustaches?
history. He's not the man of, you know, I mean, I know he's cleaned himself up now, but, you know, maybe that's it. Maybe he's got this kind of insight into how to deal with celebrity.
Yeah.
What do you think,
I
Carl?
think it's just genuine mates with him. I think he's
suppose
just like
so.
a friendly
I
bloke.
think she's been doing too much lying low in the first place. That's part of the problem, isn't it?
High five, Carl.
That was a genuine joke from Carl there, and he's so proud of himself. Look at his little face.
Too much lying low.
Oh, that was my
but I
man,
agree
Carl.
with you. Why can't she just go around to her mum and dad's or something rather than Elton John where everyone's looking? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
White van, Carl.
Yeah, White Van Carl. I mean, for those that don't know, we do this.
We
most
ask
weeks.
Carl the questions that the Sun asked someone else.
That's right. The Sun every day asks some, average Joe his views on the week's big stories. Carl, let me ask you now. What do you make of Prince Harry smoking openly at a polo club? Are you aware of this story?
No. Was it? Go on.
Prince Harry, you know that he's one of the royals.
Yeah.
And he was seen smoking openly, a fag, a cigarette, at a polo
Third
parade.
in line to the throne.
Something like that, yeah.
Imagine that. Someone smoking a cigarette is third in line to the throne.
A cigarette, Carl.
Is it a non-smoking polo club?
Do you know, I don't know, but if it were, would that make things even worse for you?
Well,
No,
yeah.
seriously, what do you make of it? This is, the whole, the furore is he's a role model, he's a royal, should he be seen puffing away in a public place?
I don't think it matters, does it?
Not a concern for you?
How old is he? Is he old enough to smoke?
I think he probably is, yes.
Right, yeah.
Well,
fine.
I think the trouble with this role model thing, with anything that's legal, it should either be illegal or not.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can impose things like that, because you could say that it is bad for you, and it is bad to start smoking, and it really is bad for you, and it causes cancer and everything.
But everyone knows that, don't they?
Well, yeah, but you should either make it illegal or shut up about it. So this is Carl you're asking, isn't it?
I am indeed.
Sorry,
So we can throw these questions your way as well, if you fancy.
Sorry, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But Carl, what are your views generally? I mean, it's obviously cigarettes are perfectly legal and so on, but what about stronger narcotics? Because I know you're very scared of drugs and stuff, aren't you? You're
Yeah,
very-
I'm not a fan. I don't
No, what's your concern? What's your worry?
just that you might get into them.
Sure.
It's like you might have them and go, oh, this is alright.
Exactly, Carl.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Although I was talking to you about it earlier, and you weren't very sympathetic about a lot of young people who have perhaps gone to crack or smack. Didn't you describe it as their own fault?
Sometimes it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I could have turned to it where I grew up, but I said, well, don't want to do that, it's not good for you.
Sure.
And I avoided it.
You turn to ghosts.
So you've got
So-
no sympathy for anyone who's a drug addict. It's their own fault.
It depends, doesn't it?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? You can be an addict if, I don't know, something, I'm trying to think of a nice way that
Well,
you
most
might
people
end up...
start on stuff like that because something really traumatic's happened to them. Very few people go out for a laugh one night and go, let's all try it.
Sure.
So, but, yeah.
Just
anyway.
say no, I suppose, is the
Just say
attitude
no,
in the end.
listen to the cast of Grange Hill.
Now, this will scare you. Now, Carl, you will be a little bit unnerved about this. Have you seen the film Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
You know what happened there? Well, according to the Sun here, it says scientists are planning to clone mammoths for a theme park. Look at his face, look at that, he looks like a dog caught in the headlights of a car, he's terrified.
I love Carl.
He sprung to attention
Carl.
there.
Is that the best news you could have?
Man moths.
Right.
Yeah, man moths.
I
Man
love
moths.
the fact that that's why he was so excited that they bred a man moth. What is this? Yeah, it's a human being that hides in your wardrobe and eats an entire jacket in a day.
Yeah.
What do you mean man moths? Mammoths. Mammoth, the big hairy
Have you heard
cow
of a
from the
mammoth?
Ice Age. I mean,
Right.
elephant.
You're not so excited about that, then? You can take or leave bringing back mammoths to life, but a man moth?
A man moth is a different matter. Oh, if we'd have never brought that up, he'd have gone and told someone now.
Yeah.
You know, they've bred an half man, half moth.
This
and
is
that's
what
how,
we
This is how
mean.
things start.
This is what we mean when you hear
don't-
these ghost
Are you
stories.
slightly deaf? Is that it? When you hear these stories, you're slightly deaf. And his head was in the basket, and he went, count how many times I blink. Is it?
Carl, is English your first language? Are you actually foreign? Is that the thing?
yeah.
Should we speak
when we say
slower?
foreign, we mean not of this planet.
Yeah. Should we speak slower? Would that be a help to you?
No, go on. Next
What do you
one.
make of
Do
that?
you think that's good?
Seriously,
Do you
the
think that's
idea
good
of
to bring
bringing
back mammoths?
prehistoric animals.
These giant elephants.
They're slow, aren't they? It's not as if they're going to, like, get out and run fast and they can't capture them.
They'd probably be a
like
fence, to be
elephants,
honest,
aren't
Carl. They'd probably be a fence.
they? No, but I'm
Big
saying,
fence.
but you're asking it as if, like, oh, it could all go wrong, but it couldn't, could it?
Well,
Really?
but the point was about Jurassic Park is they thought it wouldn't go wrong. They thought they had it all under
Yeah, but
control.
that was
and
Have
they
you
didn't.
learned
Dinosaurs.
nothing from Jurassic Park, Carl?
Dinosaurs would say, oh, think about it before you do it. But with a airy elephant, it's not going to...
Not a concern for you. Would you go along to see him? Would you be interested in that?
If it was in the area.
He's He's great, isn't he? I'd love a queue,
Nothing
right?
impresses
No,
him.
but what I'd like to do is Carl sitting like Yoda in a little cave, and I'd just like to see people like Tony Blair and, you know, Stephen Hawkins in a queue, and they go and say, Carl, got a bit of a problem,
and thinking of cloning a man and a moth.
Yeah.
Problem? Not an issue. No, if I'm in the area, I might cruise around and have a look at it. Otherwise, just don't send it near my clothes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's just for a second. As the words "man moth" came into your head, how excited were you? I mean, were you both terrified and excited? For the moment when you thought that they'd cloned a man and a moth.
I pictured,
what kind of face did he have? Did he have the moth's head, or was it a man's head?
just a little man head.
Right, what was his face? What did it look like?
He just was like, a bit shocked.
Perplexed, yeah. It was like he'd been grafted onto the body of a moth without his consent.
And when he was asleep,
he'd woken up.
he just went in to have a goiter removed, and they said, we've replaced your goiter with the body of a giant moth.
Yeah.
Is that alright, Mr. Jenkins?
So he had the head of a little. Was it a little boy or a man?
Little man.
Right. Okay.
And he's just bumping into a lamp.
He's just bumping into a lamp.
If you went into hospital and they'd done something, what's the worst thing they could do, right? What would you rather have done, right? You wake up and you've got lobster claws for hands.
Right.
You wake up and you've got duck's feet. Or you wake up and you've got one horn coming out of your head.
The worst thing,
Yeah.
probably the horn coming out of my head.
Why?
Get in the way.
That'd be useful, wouldn't it, in fights and stuff? And for like parties, people would play
Well, I
quoits.
suppose the lobster claws would also be quite handy there.
Definitely.
What confuses you? When you look out your window, what confuses you with the world? What do you walk around going, oh, that's a bit weird? I remember, when you were in, Edinburgh, you were confused because you saw someone putting a parking ticket on some rubbish, which confused you.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
The world's a crazy place, isn't it? I mean, whatever you look at, you can... Do you know what I mean?
Like what? Like what?
Oh, anything. I mean, you could look out the window there and you'll see something, you go, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
What are they doing that for?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, maybe we should bring back White Van Carl. There's some interesting questions this week, Rick.
Yeah.
We could pull that out of the bag if you're interested.
Shall we do that?
Just, get, Carl's take on, the world's...
Let's do it,
views.
I think we set Carl up again in the last hour as a person that people want to know
they wanna
his
know what he's
opinions
thinking.
on the world,
Yeah, well, if you're not familiar with it, on Saturdays, the Sun newspaper, asks a typical white van driver questions, his opinions on the week's news, and we thought we'd throw these in the direction of Carl.
Yeah. Good.
And then what do you make of, this teenage thug, Carl, Mickey Carroll, who spent 4 months in jail and he's won 9.7 million on the, lottery? Is that justice? When you think of all the good people that are going hungry? And there's a lad there and he's won...
Did he buy the ticket before he went in?
No, I think he bought it once he'd come out.
So he's done his time.
He's done his time.
Fair enough then, he's been punished.
Yeah.
Right? He's bought a ticket. He's had a lot of bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's having a bit of good luck.
Good luck to him.
Next one.
Are you concerned that now he's got all that money he could turn into like a sort of mastermind villain? You know, like a James Bond style villain? He's got a criminal streak, we know that. Is that a concern for you? I mean,
Well, we
imagine
don't.
that he could build some kind of underwater
We
fortress.
don't, with my lawyer's hat on, we don't know that.
Yeah, well. Well, he'd have to prove that he didn't have a criminal streak. I'd say so you've been in jail for 4 months.
Yeah, but sometimes people are bad because they haven't got any money, so he might be
Interesting
an
point.
angel of gold now, or
Yeah.
whatever the saying is.
1 in 5 children aged between 11 and 16 go on booze binge sessions at least once a week. That's terrifying news, isn't it?
Kids, they know too much now.
Yeah.
You
Compared to you, yeah.
Despair.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Listen to this one, right?
Go on.
My dad had me niece in the car, right, running her to school one day, and she was in the back of the car with a mate, and they chatting away about stuff like kids do. And they got onto the topic of one of the mates, who they said, I mean, you've got to remember, niece, this point was probably about 5 or 6, something like that, right? In the back of the car, talking about My Little Pony, whatever it is they play with. Subject changed. Oh, that Lisa in our class, she's a lesbian, isn't she?
Right.
That was that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Chatting away about it.
Just openly talking about lesbianism.
And probably, you know, this is the topic that they're talking about in the pub when they're having out drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they might have thought a lesbian was a you know, a funny word or something. You don't necessarily know the ins and outs of it, do they?
It's weird though, isn't it? Because when I was younger at school, you didn't like. I mean, you swore a little bit, but it wasn't like major swear words, and you sort of did a little bit of nicking, but nothing like they get up to now. I mean,
my girlfriend, when she was about 7 or 8, just walked to school with her mum, and she called her a C-U-N. Right?
You are joking.
No, she said, because she thought it was a big. She said she thought it was a big furry animal. So she was being nice, and I remember, where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that? Like, just heard it at school. So they might, you know, they might not know what it means.
Well, I tell you, you know, I'm gonna have to use kind of euphemisms here to tell this story, but when I was at school, I learned, you know, the stronger version, it's not the same word, but it's very similar with one letter changed. I'm gonna use twit.
Yeah.
You know the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use the word twit to replace it, right? And I said, I went round.
You think they're twat?
Yeah.
Alright.
That's what I'm thinking of. And, so can I say it? Am I allowed to say it?
No, it's weird though, because
hang on,
some people from Cornwall use that like saying twit. So, if people listen in Cornwall...
Do you know what a twit is? A pregnant goldfish.
Well...
Well, I learned the stronger version of twit.
Yeah.
Twat. For those that aren't sure. I learned this in school when I was like 10 or whatever, and I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was just a stronger version of twit.
Yeah.
I thought it was just if you were really annoyed with someone because they were a real twit.
Because I is worse than I.
Exactly, apparently. So, you know, Carl would be a twit. And,
Yeah.
And so I started using this at home, because I didn't realise what it meant. I started using this at home, oh, you twit, you're a twit, and saying it to my dad, you're a twit, you know, but not saying twit.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't know what it meant either.
That's great!
I couldn't believe. So he started using it as well, right? So then we'd be driving in the car, he'd be saying to my mum, you stupid, say this to my mum, you don't, pull over, you're gonna bum it, you twat. Saying this. Then I learned at school from Mark Johnson what it really meant.
Yeah.
Stopped using it, obviously finding out it was quite an offensive word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up to my dad. I didn't want to sit my dad down and say, Dad, you know that word we've been saying?
Yeah.
You know what it means? So now, to this day, I never brought it up with him. So we'll be driving, you know, I'll go home for Christmas, we'll be driving around, he'll be calling my mum that word. Left, right and centre. I think she knows. I think she's just embarrassed. Or she's just upset and she knows what it means. She goes, why does he keep calling me this terrible word? But he's the only one, I think, in our family who doesn't know what it means. No one's got the guts to say. I don't know whether I should tell him this Christmas.
What a twat.
I know.
Right, well, it's time for White Van Man, which is where we ask Carl the questions that the Sun asked someone else.
Exactly.
It's an article in there where they ask them, you know, typical man on the street, the big questions of the day, gives them their platform to the nation, and we think this is just too good to let out, because we only care about one person's opinion in the country now.
That's true enough, he's the K-man, and there he is.
There he is, right.
Carl, your thoughts, please, on Kylie Minogue slagging off Britney Spears for ignoring her fans at her premiere. Are you aware of that story?
No.
She got booed at her premiere of her new film, Britney, because she'd left her fans waiting for like an hour. Some of them had travelled up from Bristol, other parts of the country.
3,000 of them.
Loads of them screaming for her. She just went straight into the theatre an hour late, just gave them a quick wave and straight in. Didn't even bother to shake their hands, sign any autographs. So they were booing.
What do you think of that, Carl?
And Kylie's obviously said that was actually outrageous, you know, and you should treat your fans with respect. What do you make of it?
So she did wave. Like,
Yeah, but literally as she was walking into the theatre.
was it raining?
No, I don't think it was.
He's like a defence lawyer.
Yeah.
Who hasn't really read the brief.
Exactly. He's just winging it.
Judge's first joke, was it raining? No? Oh, shit, I was relying on that. Was it raining?
Was she running late for the start of the film?
Yes, but that's her own fault. I mean, the people are inside. They're not going to start the film without her. It's Britney Spears.
Yeah.
She could take some time out. You know, when Tom Cruise came here, he spent like an hour and a half shaking people's hands, talking to people on their mobile phones, all sorts. That's Tom Cruise. He's a bigger name than Britney.
I know, but...
He's a smaller person, but he's a bigger name.
What do people want from people? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
An autograph, things like that, a photo.
This one's going nowhere, Steve. Is there another one?
Fair enough.
Yeah, you know, it's not bad. If she had more time, she might have done it. I bet she would have done it on another day. I mean, I'm not feeling too good today.
But you're going to still take time out to sign people's autographs, surely, when you leave the building.
Yeah, there's always a bit of a crowd, isn't there?
Next.
Go on.
What do you make of New York's ex-police chief saying we need more bobbies on the beat? He's come over here, he's the guy that sorted out crime in New York City. He's come over, he said, you're going all over the place here. You need more bobbies on the beat, more policemen, a visible police presence.
There was something last week about, some copper in London who was sat on a bench, and he was asleep or something.
Oh, yeah.
And people were like outraged because like, he should be looking after, you know, England's people not nodding off on a park bench. Which is a bit daft because
They were shouting he should be looking after England's people.
Well,
No,
he should be looking after England's people.
Was this the 16th century you went back to? What do you mean he should be looking after England's people?
you know, wherever he was, if he was in like a park somewhere,
Yeah.
they were like really annoyed because he was asleep. But
Sure.
the way
He's
I
probably
look at it,
undercover.
well, no, but the thing is, if there would have been any trouble, I'm sure he would have woke up.
Yeah.
If there was any sort of, if someone needed help and he screamed, he would have woke up. So I don't know why they were having a go at him.
Yeah.
And,
And he might not have been there at all, so, you know, it was, you know, so,
Yeah.
he probably have his radio turned on, didn't he?
Yeah.
Listening to Heart.
So you're not concerned then that there's not, the crime's going
I
up?
think there's enough. I see quite a lot of them whizzing around.
Okay. You're happy then?
Yeah.
As long as you're happy, Carl.
So you don't think it's too much crime?
No.
Just the right amount of crime?
Yeah.
What about the fact that new gambling laws give Blackpool the green light to become a British Las Vegas? What do you make of that? Are you a gambler?
Little bit when I go on holiday, like going in the arcade and having a little flutter.
Sure.
What's your favourite?
I have a go on the, the fruit machines.
Yeah.
There's a good one called The Simpsons.
Right.
Is that your favourite?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Is that a tie-in with the TV show The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will he make Blackpool the next Vegas? I don't think so.
No, nor
Can't
do
see it
I.
happening.
No. You been to Blackpool?
Yeah.
What was it?
It's a bit rank.
Is it?
It is a bit rough.
Okay.
Needs a lot of work doing on it.
Yeah.
No, that won't happen.
Okay.
And you're not worried about this encouraging gambling, generally? Gambling's not a vice you're concerned about?
If you're a gambler, you're a gambler. Do you know what I mean? If Blackpool isn't done up, they'll go somewhere else to have a flutter.
Sure.
So it's not going to make any difference.
Okay.
No.
Okay, jolly good. What do you make of the So Solid crew's Ashley Walters being jailed for 18 months? Obviously not a very good example to his young fans.
He should have got more.
Do you think?
I had a dream about him the other night.
Go on.
About the group itself.
Okay.
I had a dream that...
Were they all there? Because there's a
Yeah,
lot of them.
all of
I
them.
couldn't remember all their faces to feature in a dream.
I had a t-shirt on.
He had etc.
Exactly,
He had
yeah.
two of them, he had etc. Yeah.
I had a t-shirt on.
You had a t-shirt on?
Yeah, and it said on my t-shirt, So Solid Poo. And I was walking down the street and they came towards me. And they were
Wow.
just about to beat me
That's
off
a
and I woke up.
great dream.
That's amazing.
That's an amazing
I love that.
dream
That's- we've
for
all
a
had-
30-year-old.
We've all had that anxiety dream. Oh my goodness, what if I meet the So Solid crew and I'm wearing a
God.
t-shirt that slags them off?
Oh, I don't believe it. Yeah, yeah.
So what happened? Did you get beaten up in the
It
dream?
was one of them where I woke up. Do you know I've been telling you that I keep getting them things where you feel like you're falling?
Oh, yeah.
It was the same sort of thing. It's
You
like,
know I'm not a real psychiatrist, don't you? You should, you know
No,
what I
but
mean?
you do know a lot about a lot.
Yeah, I do. Thanks very much.
And, if I'm at home talking to Suzanne about something and I don't know the answer, I think, right, I'll ask Ricky that one,
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But you know that, I think you might have mentioned before that apparently if you die in a dream, it means that you're dying in real life.
Yeah, well that's it, if you don't...
But apparently if you get beaten up by the So Solid crew in a dream, it means you're being beaten up by them in real life.
Yeah, that is true.
So you probably woke
a
up
lot
with
of people have
blood
been
in your
joking. Yeah.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
So yeah, lock him up for longer.
Okay. Finally, what do you make of Halle Berry becoming the first black woman to win the Best Actress Oscar? Did you see her speech?
Got on my nerves.
Did it?
I mean, it's good that she won. It's nice for anyone to win an award.
Yeah.
But she did go on a bit. And, I've been in that same sort of position.
What? Collecting an Oscar?
Well, I got, what they used to do at school is,
Okay.
if you did a full month without being off, you got a gold certificate.
Okay.
And I did a month once without having a day off. And
Sure.
I went up, and I didn't make a fuss.
You didn't start crying.
Can't play record, mate.
Well done then. Were you the first kid in your school to do that?
I don't think anyone else got the certificate. It was only because I was never in. They tried to encourage me.
It was just for you. They mounted an entire ceremony just to
Carl
encourage you.
We were halfway through White Van Man.
We were
before
indeed, yes.
Those lads came in.
Getting Carl's views on some of the big stories of the week
Yeah.
from the news. Carl, what do you make of the fact that the British Olympic curling team won a gold medal?
I watched it.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was really good. The only thing that's getting on my nerves now is what was that?
Is that a trombone player just sneaked in?
That was me moving this microphone.
Right.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah,
What an
right.
amazing noise.
The only thing is,
That shouldn't sound like that, should it? That's incredible. What a shoddy tin pot station this is.
Well, we know that.
Sorry, Carl.
Go on.
is in all the papers now, in the, the Star and the Sun all week, they've been traipsing models over a bit of granite. Do you know how those things are made out of granite? The things they throw.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, that bit annoys me.
Okay.
The
What,
way
the
that,
Daily Star?
no, the way that, this sport, nobody had ever sort of heard of it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
We win a gold medal,
Yeah.
and now in the papers it's like...
They've gone crazy. They've gone curling mad.
over it.
Yeah.
It's a good game, though.
Yeah. Good. Okay, next.
Alright, good. Let me see. What about the fact that the world's tallest man is living in a semi in Neasden?
It's alright, isn't it? Something that someone told me in the week is that, do you know all these tall people like this guy?
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird they've only just found him, considering he's the tallest man. I think that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Someone
genius.
told me that, do you know the guy who was in James Bond, the big bloke?
Yes.
Jaws? He's got the same illness as this bloke.
Right.
And what it is...
It's called tall.
It's something about...
You're suffering from tall.
You've got a small tumour or something just behind this part of your head.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just sort of in the middle of your eyes.
Yeah.
And the pressure on that makes you grow really tall or something.
Yeah.
So he needs to get it sorted.
That's your advice to him.
Yeah.
Get it sorted. Okay, very finally, Carl, this is important. This is, just projecting into the future.
Get it sorted.
Just projecting into the future now, K-Man. Apparently, global warming will bring sizzling summers and weird wildlife to Great Britain in the future. Are you worried about that?
How soon?
Soon enough for you to worry.
Yeah, it's pretty worrying.
Okay.
No,
You wouldn't prefer it to be sunny here all the time?
because with hot weather comes weird spiders and that. See, I always think we're quite lucky here.
Yeah.
If you live in Australia, you might have the sun and stuff, but you've got like deadly snakes,
Yes.
Yeah.
which are death. Did you know snakes are death?
Snakes are death.
They don't have ears.
Okay.
So you're alright walking about behind them.
Yeah. But if they see you ahead of you,
You know.
you're in trouble.
But yeah, with places like Australia, you know, people go, oh, it's great, it's sunny, but they don't talk about the spiders and
They keep the spiders.
lizards
Yeah.
and stuff.
Quite.
So I think we've got a bit of both the best worlds.
So you're worried though about in the future, maybe vultures flying through the sky, we've got various creepy crawly snakes. You concerned about that?
Yeah, well, there's a load. I saw something in the news in the week that a load of sparrows or something was somewhere. Maybe that's the start of it.
That's an interesting story.
Was that front page or? There's a load of sparrows somewhere.
No,
Read all about it. Sparrows somewhere.
Some sparrows somewhere.
Sparrows somewhere.
Load of sparrows somewhere.
Sparrows somewhere.
there you go. Anyway,
Excellent. That's
Thank you
great.
very much, Carl.
That's Carl giving his views on the news.
don't do that next week.
Why not?
I just don't like it.
Why?
Pressure.
It's not pressure. You did brilliantly.
Yeah.